Hello and welcome to this bonus episode of For Every Response, sponsored by MSA Safety. I'm Catherine Levin and I'm the editor of Emergency Services Times. I get invited to a lot of events and launches, and early in November I found myself in Manchester at the launch of the Gratitude Games. The brainchild of Mike Downard from Buckinghamshire Fire and Rescue Service, this is a new sporting venture that will see 7,000 competitors from across the emergency services gather in Manchester in June 2026. The intention is to raise funds and awareness of charities supporting the health and well-being of emergency workers. Luckily, the weather was kind and the rain held off to allow Greater Manchester Fire and Rescue Service, Greater Manchester Police and North West Ambulance Service crews to come together outside Manchester's Central Library for the launch. Let's start by finding out more about the reasons for the Games. I spoke to Mike and he told me about his experience as a firefighter with Buckinghamshire Fire and Rescue Service and the impact continued exposure to trauma has on frontline workers like him.
I've been in the fire service for 23 years, and in that time I've been exposed to a large number of people either that I work with or that I know from other services who have either thought about or actually gone on to take their own lives, who have suffered from PTSD, from traumatic events that they've seen over a build-up of time. And I just felt that something needed to be done to, one, raise funds to support mental health within the emergency responders section, but also just to raise the profile publicly on the fact that we're broken, but we can be fixed, and that people just need to know that we're there when they need us most, and we need to be at our best when they need us, and therefore we just need to support that.
With that in mind, Mike has teamed up with Ricky Nuttall, a former London Fire Brigade firefighter who suffered post-traumatic stress after responding to the Grenfell Tower fire in 2017, where 72 people lost their lives. Mike contacted Ricky back in 2019 to talk about his idea for the Gratitude Games, asking Ricky to come on board as an ambassador. They have been working on this together ever since. Ricky explains why it's taken 6 years from their initial conversation to launch the Games.
First of all, because it needed to be right. We believe at the Games that this is going to be a vital fundraising tool, and it's going to make a huge difference to our emergency service workers' mental health. If you're going to do that, and we're going to do it on the scale we're doing it, we need to make sure that absolutely everything is perfect so that it starts and never ends. So when you throw in COVID into the middle of that, working on funding, working on getting the right team on board, we've got such a fantastic team at the Games.
Just to add one point about Ricky, he's no longer with the London Fire Brigade, having left in 2021. So moving on to find out what sports will be in play at the Games, Mike says that there will be a broad selection of sports for the inaugural Games, but it's likely to expand in future years. He explains here what the thought process is.
We have a vast array of sports, from equestrians, golf, clay shooting, lawn bowls, badminton, all aimed at individuals. So you have from varying degrees of sort of participation, just to encourage more people to get involved. It's not based on trying to find the quickest or the fastest or the strongest. It's just about we're using the Games as the tool to bring everyone together to then talk about and raise funds for mental health.
And why Manchester?
Why not? Manchester's a great city. It's probably one of the top cities in the world for sport. The facilities are second to none. The people are great. The Games is about trying to create a community feel, and Manchester is the perfect place to do that.
With such high praise for Manchester, I was pleased to see Deputy Mayor Kate Green at the launch of the Games outside the library. Kate is both the Police and Crime Commissioner, taking that role on for the Mayor, Andy Burnham, and looks after fire as well. I spoke to Kate together with Buckinghamshire Fire and Rescue Service Chief Louise Harrison, who was there to support Mike. I started off our conversation by asking Kate about what it means to have the Games in Manchester.
I'm delighted that we're going to have this offer here in Greater Manchester, and I know it's going to be really enthusiastically taken up. We're a great sporting city with, iconic international venues, but also grassroots clubs across all sports who make a huge contribution to their local communities. I think we see it as a chance to showcase what a great place Greater Manchester is, really to link up with as many local communities as we can so that they can demonstrate their support for their emergency responders. And make use of all the fabulous venues that we can for the Gratitude Games to take place in. So we're absolutely delighted to be able to spread this as widely as we can. And really, as Louise says, to send that message to communities that we need to look after our emergency responders so they can look after us and keep us safe. And I think by being out in lots of different parts of Greater Manchester, we can really get that message across to lots of members of the public.
Louise expands on the mental health focus for the Games. The funds raised for the Games will go to 6 mental health charities: the Firefighters Charity, Police Care, PTSD 999, Blue Light Card Foundation, the Ambulance Staff Charity, and 999 Reset.
We always talk about the impact that traumatic incidents has on our all our emergency services, all our first responders actually. And we talk about it, but actually I don't think it's understood enough. And this really, as you said, has shone a spotlight on the level of trauma that our emergency workers face. Our men and women do incredibly brave things. And the impact that this has, not just on them, but on their families, can last a lifetime. So it is incredibly important that we make sure that those men and women get access to the support they need when they need it, and their families. And whilst the support is out there, I know every service does have that welfare support. Actually, shining a light and getting that funding is incredibly important to make sure that they get quick access to the help they need. And then hopefully we can get them back out doing the jobs that they love.
This episode of the Emergency Services Times podcast is sponsored by MSA Safety, proudly supporting emergency services and first responders on the front line. At MSA Safety, protecting first responders isn't just what we do, it's who we are. We work closely with fire and rescue services across the UK to develop and deliver safety solutions designed to meet your ever-evolving needs. That includes MSA Bristol Firefighter PPE, trusted by services across the UK and beyond, shaped through years of collaboration with frontline teams. It also includes our growing investment in innovation and technology, from the connected M1 SCBA modular solution to our agile, fully managed service model that helps keep crews protected and ready to respond. But for us, safety goes beyond equipment. We believe in standing shoulder to shoulder with the people who dedicate their lives to protecting others, whether it's supporting firefighter charities, backing mental health initiatives, or showing up for community events. MSA is proud to be part of the emergency services family. To learn more about our work in the UK and how we're supporting first responders every step of the way, visit www.msasafety.com. With MSA Safety, when you go in, we go in with you.
The CEO of Police Care, Geoff Cheshire, was also at the launch. As one of the 6 beneficiary charities, he said he was absolutely delighted to be part of the Games. He told me that Police Care has been around in different forms since the 1920s, providing treatment and reducing harm suffered by those in policing. We start off by talking about recovery and preventative approaches and the pillars-based approach that Police Care is taking to help those suffering from PTSD.
So seeing people coming together through sport seems like a good place to start in terms of a recovery journey.
Well, yes, a recovery journey and a preventative journey, because we know that good well-being and health and an active lifestyle help insulate people against some of the traumas that they will see on a day-to-day basis. So the whole concept of bringing sports people together to raise the profile of harm through blue light services, something that we really, really get and we really want to be part of.
And in terms of Police Care, you will be a beneficiary of the fundraising from each of the from the sports. How will you then use that to enhance your service?
Well, we have 3 major pillars of either preventing harm, supporting people who have been harmed, or actually treating people who have suffered PTSD. So we have a network of therapists who we provide free of charge to anybody with PTSD, and they can have treatment complimentary of ourselves. We have a grants program that allows people who have maybe exiting from policing because they have been hurt or harmed to rebuild their lives, maybe to support their families to rebuild their lives and send children to university, for example. And we're developing techniques and approaches, new techniques and approaches that we could put into initial training, to training for first and second line managers, to help give our responders some resilience and some techniques to use so that when they go to those traumatic incidents, the harm is reduced and they're better able to cope with them. And that's a constantly evolving program, because best practice will tell us to move the goalpost slightly or to change our approach slightly differently. Evidence will show which techniques work well, so we build on those. Evidence will show which techniques need some refining, so we'll do that. So any income that we generate will absolutely fund that forward-thinking model of new products to help people in the best way and existing support for folks who have been hurt. Because for me, it's almost like a model duty. You know, if as Geoff Cheshire, the member of the public, asks a police officer or expects a police officer or a fire officer or a paramedic to go into a dangerous situation and help me out, we are morally obliged to make certain that they are looked after and they've got the confidence that in actual fact, the UK will set them right for their lives in the future. And for me, that's a bargain that we should be proud to be part of. And you know, the Gratitude Games are going to give us some additional resource to make a bigger impact with our partners in the Blue Light Services.
I think that Geoff gives us a very clear sense of why the Games are right to focus on raising funds for charities like his. Every entrant to the Games is asked to raise a minimum amount of money to take part, and the organisers will then distribute the donations to the charities to carry on the work they are doing every day to support blue light workers. We'll be watching out for updates about the Games, but for now, if you're interested in taking part, check out the Facebook page. The link is in the show notes. The dates for your diary are the 6th to the 14th of June 2026. It was a short trip to Manchester, but well worth it. Here at Emergency Services Times, we like to get out and see what's going on and talk to those who are making a difference. My thanks to Mark Downard, Ricky Nuttall, Kate Green, Louise Harrison and Geoff Cheshire for taking time to talk to me in the rather refined surroundings of the Central Library in Manchester. My thanks also to John, Joe and Martin, who approached us to see how we could support the Games and invited me along to the launch. Look out next week for more sessions from the Emergency Services Show and the Emergency Tech Show. All our podcast episodes are sponsored by MSA Safety, and we're so grateful to them for their support. Thanks also to Tom St. John for expertly producing this episode. Be sure to share, like, and if you haven't already, subscribe to For Every Response, the podcast from Emergency Services Times.